Hello, Internet. It's time for another Wednesday serial. This time I wanted to do a quick little compare and contrast between Lobo and Copperhead. The reason I wanted to do this is because after reading Lobo, all cards on the table here, this comic was just indicative of everything negative being said about the New 52, and I kind of wanted to dive in and prove it. So in Copperhead, in about the first 10 pages, we get introduced to Sheriff Bronson, Boo, and Zeke, and we get kind of the dynamic that's going to be going on. There's a family thing. It's obviously a space western, so you get the sci-fi element going on. You get introduced to each character in a way that's meaningful, and the story's moved along. And if you see, like, with art here, the glare is kind of bad, but you can see that there's a fair amount going on. And this, even in this open panel, there's a little bit being told. You're getting setting, you're getting placement, you're seeing a bit of this world that you have never seen before. So there's some of that. But even earlier, before we're even really introduced, and we're just seeing on the train, there's a lot of the mood lighting. There's a fair amount of word bubblage going on for a modern comic, and you see panel to panel something transitioning. And just by the panels, you can kind of get a sense of the mood and the tension building. And in that, the first half of this comic, we get characters built up, we get a setting, we get a sense of this place, and so much as far as like setting everything up. This issue hits everything it needs to hit. It's no like grand master greatest comic ever made, but it's solid, it's there, and it's intriguing, and it makes you want to continue because it sets things up, it answers a few basic questions that you need to do in basic storytelling, who, what, when, where, why, and does it in a compelling, interesting way. The craft is there, and it hits a few, taste barriers for me, so we're all good. Now for Lobo, I'm coming at it a little differently. There's a few more expectations. It's a known character, and whereas I haven't read like every Lobo comic or anything, I've read a few. I enjoy it. I get the yucks. I have certain expectations of kind of a goofy character, kind of biker thing, whatever, although it's not going to be that. I know it's this other Lobo now, and I don't know anything about other Lobo. Lobo B, if you will. Lobo 52. Post-Flashpoint Lobo. Whatever. We open up, and this first page had me, like, we're here, we're getting the grid. Always solid. If you have to pick a page layout and you're not sure, go with the grid. And add, whatever. But there's this tension between them, and it kind of, for me, is like, okay, and they're kind of killing this old Lobo for the new one, and the new one's mad that the old Lobo killed all the other inhabitants of their planet and whatnot, and it's kind of interesting. And then you move on, and I'm just kind of down, and then with the execution of old Lobo, the comic just changes, and there's this light whatever la la, and this new Lobo is okay. I mean, let's talk character design for a minute, whereas I didn't touch on in the other comic. It's there, it's solid, it's not as big of a deal, but here we go from biker crazy, like there's some attitude, the motorcycle with the skull, the dreads, the whole thing, the main man, that's a character, and just his silhouette alone drips with a certain amount of personality. This new one, if you put his silhouette, is it Superman? Is it the Flash? I guess not because of the hair, but that's about it. And then we get this page. Oh no, it's a tone shift with the pretty lady, but and then oh no, it's a dream. So we've just wasted 3 pages trying to set up this new character with the fact that he likes having semi-romantic relationships, like pretty standard stuff, but because it's a dream sequence and it's not that juxtaposition of a dream of what a character wants versus what the reality is, can't say something about them. Showing what their dreams are can be very informative. Actually could be a good scene, but because the way it's played here, it's just he wanted to get laid and seem all suave, and then it didn't happen. It doesn't say anything about the character, what's going on. And I will give credit to the artists. They tried to juxtapose. They tried to set. They used the script to the best of their ability, but then we continue, and then remember that scene in Copperhead where it was like like a fourth of a page, and it set up the world. Instead, we get a full page splash here, and it's a similar setting, right? But you get less of the mood, partially because it is a full page, so you don't get that letterbox kind of pan. You just get this, oh, it's a canyon and he's in a whatever. The difference here is your perspective. What the perspective sets up is a sense of scale. It's not out in the boonies of the city or whatever, and we're out here, whatever. This is just implies forward motion and nothing else. That doesn't mean anything except that we're pressing forward, but because we don't actually have any past in the comic yet, except for this ain't old Lobo, this ain't your daddy's Lobo, this is new Lobo, who I guess has wants. We don't exactly know what they are, but we know he has them. And we know he's a he. It's about it. As Copperhead continues, there's kind of an initial instant where our sheriff learns about the town and the way things work, and knows that she's going to have to shake things up if she wants true justice to be around because of the way that things are set up. And then that gets played on later with a second incident that causes a twist, and then suddenly we get more complicated matters because things are starting to stack already in the first issue. And there's a little bit of leeway because Copperhead was allowed more pages, being a 350 comic and being from Image and not from DC. Lobo had less to work with. It's true, but that could have just been a to be continued a little earlier, and then I wouldn't feel the need to judge necessarily. Here, however, in Lobo goes to get his mission on this world that doesn't even trade on creds. Ugh, what a backwater planet. I don't know. It doesn't really... Because I don't know what creds really are, how ubiquitous they are, because that's not established anywhere else in the DC universe. Keep in mind, there's a whole bunch of lore here that could be played upon. I know, a good chunk of my Green Lantern stuff. I know a good chunk of my DC stuff. I don't know everything, but I know enough to know this is just kind of playing on its own accord, and it doesn't need to. And so Lobo goes through this mission. No adversity. The only thing we actually learn about his character throughout this entire thing is that he's not willing to kill dogs, even though he will kill a man, even if he knows he's not necessarily supposed to, for the right price. He's a mercenary. Woohoo, but he has certain moral standards which sets him apart from the other Lobo, but not really in an interesting way. He's like, I'll kill whoever, but I won't kill dogs, and I'm getting the sense unless I absolutely need to because they're going to try to kill me or something. And so there's no adversity here. You just learn that little bit, and then because the guys that he kills are marginally scummier than him, it's like, oh man, the guy who hired me almost didn't need to because I would have done this for free, except we know for a fact he really wouldn't have heard about this slum job whatever if he wasn't hired, so kind of a non-point. And that's it. That's it. That's all you get to learn about this character. There's nothing told about him. His design is blah. The storytelling of art is okay, and even the failings of the art as far as storytelling, I can't even put on the artist. Given the script, I don't know if they actually could have done much more, because the only thing that they really could have done is a little bit better of setting of this non-planet that we were never going to return to, so it almost doesn't matter anyways. Like, it's just so tossable because there's no care, and that's not to say a single issue of comics that's trying to stand on its own can be very impactful. Some of the best comics are single issues on their own. But when you're trying to set up an install base with this issue has to stand on more than itself, but it needs to build on only itself. And it's not. It's just... post-Flashpoint crap, which we're starting to see more and more of, and I think people really need to start recognizing what makes a good comic from a bad comic. So I wanted to throw some of the points that I was conscious of in the ring. And please, if any of you guys ever see something like this and there's a compare and contrast and you kind of dig into the form, please do, because this is where I think we can really start to cut out the chaff. So that was my idea of at least a quick video. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll hit you soon with another comic review.